everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Van and I am a designer and self-taught illustrator. Today I really wanted to talk about my sketchbooks, specifically my ugly sketchbooks. I just don't think that there's enough love out there for ugly sketchbooks, even though every artist has one, probably hiding somewhere under their bed maybe. But they're so incredibly valuable. They're valuable in the sense that there's just no pressure when you're using them. And because of that, they hold so much potential. And today I wanted to talk about the 3 types of ugly sketchbooks that I happen to use all the time. And I'm gonna start from the least ugly to the most ugly. So the first sketchbook that I have is what I would call the Ghetto Superstar. It is on a Canson mixed media XL sketchbook in a 7x10 size. I find that this is like the perfect size to sort of sling around. It's not too big, it's not too small. It fits perfectly into my scanner, since I scan a lot of my work, so it really needs to be able to fit into my tiny scanner. And the paper is pretty thick. It can handle quite a bit of abuse, and so I find that it's perfect for like my color studies and my painting experiments. I've used this with watercolor, but it does tend to buckle up a lot, so I don't do it too often. But it handles gouache and it handles Posca pens beautifufully, and so a lot of the times I do have completed artwork in this particular sketchbook that I can scan and use for my Society 6 or whatever. So I really love this one. I just think that it has a lot of colorful ideas, and I like working in it whenever I have a chance. So this is probably my favorite one, and obviously my least ugly one, but it has it's a pretty good workhorse of a sketchbook, I think. And I noticed that a lot of other artists use this same sketchbook as well, probably because it's pretty cheap and pretty easy to come by. So it's a winner in my book. So my second type of ugly sketchbook that I use, I like to call Little Chonky Boy. It is pretty much the trashiest little memo book that I could find. But I think I got it at Walmart for maybe $2 or something like that. So I did not put a whole lot into this one. It is purely just to take on any kind of brain dump material that I've got. It's really for like rough lists, like word lists and thumbnails. I do a lot of thumbnails. I find that to be something that I've borrowed from my college years. So my background is in graphic design, and I just remember us like doing hundreds of thumbnails in school, and I still find myself doing them because I think that it's a really good exercise to do. And a lot of my good ideas come from these little chicken scratch thumbnails. So it works, and I'm still going to continue doing it. There's no final artwork in the sketchbook. It really is just like the scribblings of a mad woman. But the size is great. It's really small. It's smaller than my other one, so I can usually throw it into the bottom of my purse or something. It can maybe do like color swatches of just like random art, like new art supplies that I have, but nothing like major. But I like it because it has so many pages in it. Like, I don't remember when I got this. It must have been 3 or 4 years ago, but I'm still trying to fill it up. And it just has so many pages, and it's so chunky. So I think it's a really good little ugly sketchbook because it just gets the job done, you know? It complements my other work in the sense that this is where all of my raw ideas go. And then, last but not least, the ugliest one of them all, I like to call it the hot mess. This sketchbook is actually a $5 school binder that I got from like Target, and it is just it's just where I organize my mess. Because to be perfectly honest with you, whenever I have like a need to sketch or draw something, I can never actually find my sketchbooks. So I typically will just like pull out a scrap of paper, a napkin, like whatever is around me, and that's where my sketches go. But the problem with that is I might lose that random scrap of paper. It might end up in the trash. For the longest time, they would just be floating around in my studio or in my closet or something. And after a while, I was just so tired of it because I know I had drawn something and didn't know where it was. So I started doing these binders of all this random stuff, and I realized that this was like a pretty good system, really, because all of those things would have otherwise gotten lost. So it's pretty much a hot mess when you look at it, but there is some, order to this chaos. So it does hold a lot of my loose sketches, and just stuff that I don't really care if I have to punch holes in it in order for it to fit into the sketchbook. This thing is literally held together with like tape and gum and maybe a little bit of spit, I don't know. But it is basically a place where I can document like all of my ideas. And that's just so important lately, because the thing that I hate the most is wanting to draw something, but like not having an idea of what to draw. And so it's really important to kind of document all of these ideas and sketches and stuff somewhere that you can revisit when you need to, especially in those times where you have like an art block or like a creative block. And so even though this is like the ugliest looking thing, it's just like it's ugly as sin. I love flipping through this thing. I have actually a few of these over the years, and every time I go through it, I come across either a new idea that I could like expand on, or a reminder of like an old piece that I had done that eventually became like something completed that sold really well in my shop, my online shop. And so I think this is a pretty good way to sort of illustrate how important like ugly sketchbooks are. They might not look great, but they have like so much potential in them. And so, I really hope that this video kind of encourages you to love your sketchbook, like no matter how ugly they are. And because they serve you pretty well if you use them, I just hate seeing like empty sketchbooks because, you felt like every page had to be perfect or a masterpiece. There's a time and a place for that, for sure. But like, sketchbooks, you got to put the sketch back in sketchbooks, you guys. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's a way for you to learn and a way for you to experiment and try things and jot things down and scribble things, so anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.